ambulance raised to 150, Moody Bradley House, 15,600. The salary for the county clerk being moved from the Fund 91 Preservation Fund, moved to the general fund and paid out of the general fund. And then juvenile, we haven't had to pay for a long time on juvenile, but because there was enough funds in the bank to cover those expenses, but those funds have run out, so now we're going to have to start paying again. And we did in years past. It seemed like it was about 140 or 150, a large amount. So this year we're going to need to fund 90,000, and I just found that out Friday when we had a meeting in Rosebud. Of course, the volunteer fire department, we had to add the line item for Oakwood, and that was 10,000. The court reporter, Karen got the information from the district judge, and that's going to be increased for $18,504.63.
Did we say we could do that?
This is totally different. That was for last year. All that issue was from last year about changing the salary mid-year. This is for the new budget.
This is for Judge Simmons, his court reporter. This is for a different court reporter. He's raising her up 10%, which by statute, he can do that.
Okay.
And then in the jail, this is not going to be actually a change in any money because we had budgeted everything in the general fund. But now, in order to make it a little easier for the grant funds to be audited, we're taking $40,444.60 out of the jail money and putting it over in the Fund 99.
Fund 99 for the SB 22 part only.
Yes, yes.
For the jailers.
Yes.
And sheriff.
And so then that a lot of it's revised now. I don't have anything else for the general fund that we talked about. I don't remember anything else. Can you remember anything else that we talked about? Any changes on the general fund?
I know I asked on my initial sheet for a new employee, or if y'all couldn't find a new employee, to at least give me a part-time one for the extra duties that have been added onto my office that we're having to do. I know that district court went from hardly having any trials to they're going to be having 2 a month, and so we've got to do the money for that. And I only have like $1,500 budgeted in my part-time, and of that $1,500, I mean, that can't even train somebody to come on a regular basis to learn how to run my office, much less hand out money, take in money, anything like that. So I've given y'all last meeting that we had a breakdown of what the some of the counties in Region 11 were paying their people, and a lot of those counties don't even have payroll or HR in their office. And so I know y'all haven't addressed it yet, whether y'all are going to allow me to have someone else in my office, but I really do need it. I don't ever, ask for anything that I don't need. So I did want to just say, we brought in interest this year. Looks like it's going to be about $500,000 in interest that we've been able to bring in. So I just think that's something that would be nice for y'all to. And I do know that JPs have even talked about, since we're doing jury, they're wanting me to include that. We just don't have the staff in my office to be able to do that for everybody unless y'all help out by giving me.
didn't run that figure up.
Well,
That's about right, though. Yes, that's probably right. We'll talk in a little while about where we're gonna get that from. I'm looking right now, through these sheets. Thank you so much.
where'd you go to?
On page 5.
You said you were asking for a full-time position to help out with additional duties. Will taking the insurance out of your department, will that ease up some of your duties?
Well, it won't ease up, us still having to intake the HR person and messing with the insurance. Now, my understanding is that the broker will reach out to the person and get them actually set up like I'm doing currently in Oasis. But as far as internet and payroll, all that, we'll still have to be doing that part.
And as far as helping with the jury situation, do you think maybe if we added some more part-time, would that help?
I mean, if y'all are willing only to do part-time, yes. I feel like I could use another person in my office, but if that's all that y'all will do, then yes. But, I mean, it would have to be someone that I can bring in and train. I can't do it for someone that's gonna just show up sporadically. They're not gonna learn. You know, it's not an office that is just answering phones. They've gotta, again, anybody in my office, like my deputy treasurer, I know I don't call her chief deputy, but my deputy treasurer, she does, I gave y'all the statute showing that she can do anything in my absence that I can do. And, so they have to be bonded. Anybody working in my office has to be bonded, and they handle money coming in, that kind of thing. And so it's not just like calling somebody up and saying, hey, can you come in and cover a phone, so.
How much of that does she do in your job when you're absent?
Just depends what I need her to do. She does my banking in my absence.
I was flipping through the requests, to see if we have, I do have a little list of things that we have, need to talk about. We're looking right now. Let's talk about air evac also. I know we had been talking, about whether we should look at air evac or whether we should look at the other supplement that we might have through.
About that Masa yesterday that we talked about?
Yes, and you had said that there had been a law passed, I can't remember exactly what it said, no surprises, or something like
It's
that.
called the no surprise.
Talking through all of that, our insurance does cover, air transport.
My understanding is yes.
And if it does, then it's up to the insurance company to negotiate what they pay them for that. And on our side, we have no deductible and no copay. So, talking about it like that, if that is the way, if it's that way, what we're understanding, and y'all can can certainly call and talk to the broker too and ask them, but we're not gonna be paying anything anyway.
That's my understanding, is that you would use that card, and that would have your whole out-of-pocket, and once you need an out-of-pocket, then the insurance pays it 100%. That's my understanding of it.
And also that NSA doesn't allow that helicopter company to charge more than what your insurance.
That's what, that's up to
That's
the
what I
insurance
understand the
company.
act to say, is that they can't balance bill you, and they have to charge you as an in-network. And so if you had a deductible and a copay, you would still be required to do that, but in our situation, my understanding is we won't have that.
So that's probably not something we're gonna be looking
So maybe.
at. Now, the voter approval rate, we have the proposed rate, which is the voter approval rate, 0.3219. Now, on our budget, I figured 0.32. We know that we won't collect every penny that we assess. So that gives us a little bit of a buffer there. We could talk about going back to the 0.3219. And when we've looked at these, that we have more expenses now than we did before, we're adding on, we do have the option of either paying for the application expenses for redoing the courthouse. We could pay that out of fund balance, because that is a one-time thing. It's not a recurring expense like we would normally have to budget for year after year. We also could go back to the amount that we had allocated in Fund 670, that 290-something thousand that we had said we might pay out of general fund rather than paying out of the ARPA funds. We could move that back and pay that out of the ARPA funds, which is for the sheriff's department, the cash amount. We could pay that out of the ARPA funds, and then that would free up that money to meet those things that we've added, and not have to raise any more funds. So we can make it balance either of those two ways.
And that would still allow us to purchase what we have allocated in the ARPA funds.
Yes.
And I did get a word back from Grant Works yesterday that that will be allowable expense for that grant.
I hope we got a sheet on what we've got in the ARPA, what's committed, what we bank on, what,
Yes, we have that. I don't have it right here.
I don't know.
But we can
I
get
probably got it.
We had excess of 200 and something, but that also didn't include the interest that we earned.
70-something thousand.
70-something thousand, so we're gonna have sufficient funds to pay for that, out of the ARPA funds.
And that is
That's
in,
it.
211.
211.
211,301 plus the interest.
Plus the interest.
right, and that is in the 99, no, not 99, 84, 670 budget.
Yes,
That
ARPA.
for other, in other expense, that total amount plus Grant Works fees is all in there.
So even though we did have it balanced, we could move a little bit around, is what I'm saying. Not, I do think that probably moving that application expense to fund balance would be a good idea, because like I said, it is a one-time expense. It's not a recurring expense. To pay that out of fund balance. And that's kind of written on the top, where it says revenue. We could move that to fund balance, the application for the courthouse.
How much was it?
It was about 100 and,
on 67?
That sounds.
What's that? I think I read that.
Some of them will be paid, probably paid this year, and then the rest next year. So is it agreeable to move that to fund balance?
Need a motion?
No, just if everybody's agreeable, we can move that, because we're not really approving it yet, anyway, budget.
Will that be able to, where were we on our 32 and this? It worked, 32 worked with that.
We have the balance budgeted right now. The budget balance right
Okay.
now.
On straight up 32?
This
On
number.
straight up 32.
Okay, that was my
There was a
dad.
while ago that were you saying that if we did the 3219, the 0019 would compensate for
What we made?
the
Yeah, that's 67.
Couple of dollars.
Like 67.
I'm saying if we leave it at 32.
We take it up.
Okay, I think it's what last figure made.
Yeah. 67 on. Yeah.
Or you want to add the 19 though to make up for
No, I said
revenue
that
that didn't
backwards.
come in?
I said that backwards.
Okay.
Yeah. It's at, we're in at 32 right now. On the budget, and it's balanced.
That application was 175, and then also there's a dispatch building that we got in there, we've got 275.
Yeah, but I just wrote that down. That's not exactly what they told us. I couldn't remember the
Oh, okay.
time. And we've got it in capital outlay. But we were budgeting it out of just general fund.
Right.
But if we go back and take and budget it out of fund balance, that would help for this 212 or whatever
Yes.
that we're over right now. Adding the .0019 is not going to be a lot.
67,000.
I just thought you said for the.
I said that backwards. No, I'm just saying. What would work that way would be if we ended up doing the tax rate as the proposed of .3219 would bring in a little more money, and that still would leave us with about what we budgeted, .32 coming in. We wouldn't have to change our budget to expect that, because we probably won't get all that we budget for. So if we leave our rate at the .3219, we will probably be bringing in
32.
what we, sir?
We're probably bringing in 32.
Yes. Probably bringing in
I agree
32.
with that 100%.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I do.
So leave it at 3219?
Whenever we set the tax rate, we have it at the proposed already at .3219. And we'll be talking about that next week, is what we set it at.
They said it there.
Yeah. All right, now, going back, what have we, I'm flipping through to see if there's anything that we have already talked about that we've not addressed yet. Can y'all think of anything that we have addressed that I don't have on here?
This candidate.
Yeah. I tried to make a list of it, things as we were going through.
And you want to say anything?
We'll get to that, yeah, we haven't talked about that yet. Anything we've already talked about,
Anything already talked?
already talked about that we used, or that we saw on our sheets.
As far as the sheriff's office and the jail, what exactly did we put in our budget that we discussed? And what exactly are we possibly waiting on when the SB 22 comes in?
Well, you gave me a budget, and I think it's basically what you gave me. The only thing we wanted to talk about was the positions for the deputies. Now, that one position that you changed to a deputy, that you're gonna change back to a CID, correct?
As soon as I have, yes.
Correct, okay. And we still have that CID slot, it just doesn't have the money in it because you moved that down for a
Right.
deputy. So that'll go back. And then I had originally taken out the open spots to say that they were gonna be in 22, but since everything else is gonna be in 22, you're not gonna be able to have those two slots too in 22. So, did you put back an open slot for in the,
Yes,
in the?
yes, I have my open
In the
position
jail,
back.
you said?
No, that's a
Did you
deputy.
say sheriff's department or deputy?
Deputy.
Sheriff's Department.
Yes, I put an open position back in there.
Yes. So, I think I got
So
that.
discussing the other two that I've asked for,
Those will be in 22,
those have come out of this SB
is
22.
what I thought you said.
No, I'm just wanting
I'm
understanding.
hoping
Yes,
I
okay.
changed it to the way we, yes. And I'll need to look at that and read, I'll need to look.
So I didn't put 2 open positions in SB 22. Did you, do I need to do
I
that?
thought we talked, yes, we'll need to put 2 open positions in 22. Of course, we have extra money in there, we can always make those later in that special fund.
Yes.
Depending on how you spend it, in
Right.
that special fund, yeah.
Because I'm,
I'll
you know, I'd
need
like
to
to
get
see,
I'll need to get a new printout of the payroll sheets to be sure that what we have now in the sheriff's department and everything else still matches with, because there've been things back and forth on
right.
that. Okay.
Because I still like to see a starting salary for the deputies at 48, and we need to try to implement some incentives that everybody else seems to have but us.
And that will be too, something that you pay out of 22, is those raises?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, okay, I think we're on the same page.
Okay, thank you.
I think, okay. Is there anything else we talked about? I
We
can't
talked
think
about
of it.
maybe hiring an IT person.
Yes, that is on my list. On this thing, thank you.
And I did talk to Fairfield ISD, I think I told a couple of you already, just to see what a possible cost is for an IT person, to do what we were looking at them doing here, and they said it'd be about $50,000 to $60,000.
50's cheap, so said the same thing.
Okay.
And Limestone County is now advertising for one also, but their salary was higher. But thinking a salary between 50 and 60 plus benefits.
So 50 would cost you 70? I mean,
About
basically.
50, 60, yeah.
I still think we need one. I don't need one. Y'all need one.
It's to set you up, what are you talking about?
That you still there.
What are y'all thinking about that?
How we gonna pay for it? We're just crunching, I mean, trying to fit what we got into the slot.
If we move the application for
Yeah,
courthouse,
get the application out of surplus.
we get that out of surplus, because that's a one-time cost. Then, with that and what we have, that we're gonna be moving back over to ARPA funds, we can make it work. And that would take stuff out of your office too, and hopefully everybody's office, because that's a huge,
Huge.
it goes, everybody
Yeah.
works on that, so.
Who's gonna supervise this person?
Commissioner Short, I guess.
Male?
Maybe Clyde Lidge.
Yes.
He's an IT person up here right now.
I probably would not be a good IT
I'll say
supervisor.
That's two that, no.
Because I would.
Anybody else volunteer?
Because I would use them constantly to.
Where are you gonna put them, or where are they gonna be at?
I have no idea about that yet either.
Maybe like wherever they're at first, maybe, close to them, supervisor.
Well, they'd have to come to you if you needed
I was
something.
to say, the first year, I think they're gonna be going office to office.
Yeah.
They're almost gonna be supervised by everybody that have a problem, to be honest.
Exactly.
That'll save Jeannie a lot of texts for me.
You don't
Poor
what?
Jeannie, I text her all the time. Help.
Yeah, I don't think anybody knows how much I
No,
have to do on that.
I don't think they know. I do it, I message
So is
them.
everybody in agreement for us to put that in the budget for an IT person?
And what What
Yes,
salary we gonna
please.
put in? 50 or 55, I mean,
I wrote down 70, if 50's gonna turn into 70.
yeah.
Well, we'll put a salary, but then we'll add the benefits down there. And we'll see what department would be most
I mean,
logical. County services,
you gotta
I
pay
guess.
enough to get somebody worth,
Worth having.
I mean, a cheap one's not gonna help us much. I mean, a short one's not gonna work.
Well, I think we could advertise the 50 to 60, and because we're gonna have those other expenses already, in place.
What kind of
I mean, we got
qualifications?
10,000, it's,
Didn't I one time, and maybe I still have them in the office down there, but I think I got some, pulled off our listserv, some IT, job descriptions. Did I give those to you, Judge?
I don't know, I could look, but
I think I gave them to somebody, but.
we could do it again.
I think I had
I
some.
think county services would probably be the department would put it in. And then, so if it's agreeable, we'll add that to it.
Thank you.
All right. What else now? Speak now or forever hold your peace. That's something we want to do. As far as the general fund, we're gonna go to the special funds here in a minute. All right, we do have then a new request. And it is from the tax office. It says, I apologize for the late request. I know this is possibly the last budget meeting, but I have been made aware of circumstances that I have not previously had knowledge of. To be brief, I'm requesting a pay increase for the tax office's chief deputy position. I'm requesting an increase in the amount of $3,362. And then, in addition to any across the board increases received by the county's employee workers. I believe that is a fair increase when compared to similar positions involving supervisory and higher function duties that resemble the responsibilities of our chief deputy's position. That would be $6,725. However, I'm requesting half of that amount in lieu of the circumstances. All right, and in lieu of which circumstances?
Just last minute, something I didn't ask for early on. Because I know it's difficult, I know that, you're moving money around already,
Yes.
so just because it's a last minute request.
$1.61 an hour. 2080.
Renee has asked for her office too.
Do you want to talk about what you were requesting?
Me?
Do you want to talk about what you're requesting?
Yes, ma'am. I'm asking for myself a pay raise up to $48,000. And also just to let everyone know, I went to law seminar last week. SOS is basically saying the first 2 weeks of our early voting during the November election, the last week of it, we're being made to stay open 12 hours now at the main voting locations. So that would be Tig and Fairfield.
On election day and on?
The last week of early
The
voting,
whole week?
the whole week. So that's going to increase our time. But I also did learn that counties with 55,000 and under, Chapter 19 is going to help out with some of that pay. So that's going to help us out there. I don't know how much, they did not say how much, but once we figure that out, we'll send it in and hopefully get some kind of support back from Chapter 19 on that. Yeah. So, we did have a good seminar this last time. Got some good information, good support from people.
these special funds. I don't know if y'all have all looked at them, at them already. Start with Fund 11. Page 47.
What is it, what pages?
47. fees. Various fees. First, page 51 is where we start with the, Golden Ridge. Last year, we don't have any grants coming in.
We still have a little bit for Wheel and Clyde. Yeah.
On
Yeah.
the TIF.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, we're working.
Yeah.
Working some of that.
On page 59, begins the county attorney.
Before I go back with this on the road bridge, there's been no changes since.
No, everything that I have changed,
All
is listed on there, and it was, other than.
I haven't
that
changed any of
last
their
fund,
budgets
last
or
three
anything.
funds, and we'll talk
Yeah.
about those. For your SB 22, do we need to talk about setting up just a line item? Or do you set up
Which
a line item?
I do have the line item
Okay.
set.
That's probably.
I was gonna get with Carrie, just the numbers to her. I know we talked about that last week, so I haven't done that. I apologize.
It's fine,
but,
it's fine.
um,
He's busy.
But
This
yes, ma'am.
mentioning we need to get that in there before the line items and stuff, at least. Thank you.
Do we know whether that SB 22 is gonna cover all the fringe, or do we know?
That's the one thing that we don't
It
know.
doesn't really make a difference. It makes a difference for the county, obviously, but I just didn't know whether y'all knew, and just a curious question by
Oh,
me.
yes, but,
I-
you know, they're
September.
rewriting a few things different from exactly the way of what it says in the statute, so
Okay.
who knows?
Gotcha, just making sure I'm on the same page. I'm at that point too where I don't know either.
We do have a transfer in on, well, no, that's later on.
How many grants we working on now? How many do we have going? I mean, we got the TIF thing and what else?
ARPA?
We got ARP, we got the law enforcement starting, that's gonna probably continue.
The Senate Bill 22.
We have 911 SCAP, indigent defense, I mean, they go on and on and on, there's just a lot of them.
And so who takes care of all those?
I do.
I do the 911.
She does the
That's
911,
911.
but I do, but I have to keep up with all of them as far as, I have to prepare every grant as far as accruing for the, you know, if we spend it one year and we get money in the next year, every grant I have to go back and do work on before the outside audit comes.
Yeah,
So
when we apply and we fill it out, she
They
pretty
apply
much
for the
takes it
SCAP
after that.
grant, and then she does the grant, and you do the 911.
And some of the SCAF, I do all the numbers for the
Send in
SCAF.
information.
But there's still so much more to all of those grants that people don't know, they don't realize what goes into it.
Our office helps with some of those grants as well.
I'm sorry,
Our office helps with some of those grants as well.
y'all do grants?
We help with some of them, yes.
And I did the grant we got for the solid waste recently. Did that, did it last year for the solid waste.
And there's annual, like, you don't just do it the once, you know, like we have to go, well, we just did it yesterday. The other day, about every 3 months, we're having to get back in and let them know where we're at and what's going on.
There's all kind of progress reports, the grant reporting, all those things.
It's busy work, but it gets us
It's a
quite
lot
a bit
of
of
work.
money, you know.
We're not having to do it anymore, but when we were having to do that special thing that the DPS sent down.
You know, and
But the TIF, keeping up with all of the road and bridge, I mean, there's just a lot to those grants. It's a lot.
But they all have a timeline.
yes.
But they all, a lot of them continue. A lot of the grants do continue.
Well, if it's Senate Bill 22 doesn't continue, what?
If it doesn't continue, then
We absorb.
it's whatever y'all want to do with it. If you want to, if you want to have the employees sign something or make a statement in court that, if they know that if the funds go away, then that part of their salary will go away.
Is it a sneaky way of doing a mandate?
Unfunded mandate.
I can only speak for myself. I've told my people, we don't know how long it's gonna last. We don't know what's gonna happen in the future, right? You're getting it now, and everything else is up in the air. So don't be surprised. Either way, it may go on for 20 years, it may end in 2, and then it'd be up to y'all to figure it out. But I just, it could go on forever, but just
Talk
to,
about putting a statement, maybe on the employee sheet that they're gonna sign at, open enrollment that says all increases provided by SB 22 will be in effect only as long as grant funds are available each year. So do you think we could put that maybe on the sign-in sheets for open enrollment? Or where would we want to?
I would say since that only affects a handful of people, just have them sign something and put in their personnel file. Because, I mean, it doesn't affect.
and I'm just speaking for myself, me as a supervisor of my people, that I've let them know there's a lot of unknowns in the future, right? And I
Maybe
think-
we'll do a little statement and then we can have everybody sign one. You can look at this and we'll
Yes, ma'am.
make up a nice little statement. Perfect.
I agree that we don't know how long or how much the grant might last or how that's going to all work going forward. I will say that I was involved in it, that it was told to us that the state cannot dictate y'all setting salaries, but they can if they call it a grant. So to a certain extent, that's why it's being called that, so that they can get pay up to where it honestly should be for law enforcement in the smaller rural counties. Kind of take exception to the fact that we're going to have to give it back, and we ought to be making that anyway. I mean, plain and simple. That's the state stepping in.
Some instances
Right.
that we would not increase the pay to whatever to some of the situations.
Yeah.
Maybe
And-
more to another department than yours, but that's just a general statement.
Yes, and I agree with that, but the whole purpose, one of the whole purposes of this was the state going, man, these smaller rural counties aren't getting, their law enforcement's not getting what it needs, what they should be getting to keep up. So they're giving us money to try to help get us to where we should be or where they think we ought to be. Definitely where I think we ought to be, so.
The thing about it is, we have to budget for it before we get it. And then once we start getting it, then we won't be budgeted for it. But if they take it away, in whatever time of the year they do it, if we're already past budget, when they say it's not being funded no more, then we're not gonna have a budget for it. So you should always have to look at it that
What is-
there could come a time that it may not be there, and it'll be out of our hands if the budget's already set, depending on the timing of it. There would be nothing we could do, you know. So.
change in 89, Fund 89, which was discussed earlier. And I do have that reflected on my sheet showing that county clerk, the county is moving that salary into 505. It's on that list of 49,592. So that is a decrease in that spending on Fund 89.
Judge Grant,
Was
that's
that 89 or
91.
99? 91, I put the wrong one. Sorry about that. 89 is just where we moved the 53,000 from Fund 91 over to Fund 89. If you'll look at that, that's a change. That will be a 1 year, but that will be paid out of this because the other is the archive fund. Okay, and then Fund 90 is, that's just a conference fund. Fund 91, again, we took the 53 out and put it over in the other fund, and we took out the salary out of 91, where we added part-time 32,720 in that fund. Part-time. And then the courthouse fund, we have a transfer in on that one every year because the expense for the security person is more than what
Hey, Judge Grant, going back to 91, y'all pass that. On the budget, there, it's like 32, and I think Renee has asked that to go to 37 up there on the south, 37,620. So
what I had is 32, so it's not 32?
she asked Jeannie yesterday, I think, to change that to 37,
Part-time?
part-time.
37,620, yeah.
Okay. And then the related expenses. Now I have all mixed up there. The numbers are backwards.
122 and 123.
Well, the numbers on my sheet are going down instead of going up. Who knows? That makes sense. Okay.
So that was going to 37 even, or
37,620.
37,620.
And that's
so it's 5,000 even.
Okay, and there's no amount for preservation on here? On 91?
That's correct.
Fund 92, we do have to transfer some from the general fund to this security fund because the fees that come in are not enough to pay for that salary for that officer. But that is in transfers out, in fund, general fund 670, transfers out. It's already in there.
What now? Is it 44 something? It'll be a little less than that, will be about 44. He doesn't make traffic stops. Yeah, he doesn't make traffic stops, you have to come here and make traffic stops. He doesn't know, he doesn't get it, I thought he doesn't qualify. Yeah, I did too.
What page are we on there?
I just went and looked all the way through.
That's what I was doing.
I did look.
What's there? Get that
So that won't increase. However much I had budgeted, put it up here, then we can take the other out of that item in 670, and may have enough still to pay for that CAD money once we get it all finished. But probably not quite enough because we're adding, like I said, I try to make a least money. Things change. We need to add to that the IT dispatch, 151, that's the dispatch. And the expenses that we show there. That includes, you know, the for dispatch, and, you know, all of the utilities, all of the furniture and fixtures, and that we are hoping, for example, the 8 and the 4 should spread over our city, so they should be responsible for some of those. The dispatcher costs too. We'll just have to wait and see, but that's what's my thought about it. We'll see what they can do.
But on 151, that's what that, is that correct?
Yeah, you have the new sheet.
It's supposed to be good this morning.
Got it this morning. Well, that says 8-2. Maybe this is it. 8. 8, 9. We should do it and improve. It'll be at the very back. Shows 8 positions. 8 positions. That's.
Close. It is close. That's the only thing left. I think you take the longevity.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, if you take these two and add them together, then that's the 317. You see, there's a line for longevity, a line for FSA, med, and retirement, so it all adds in, just in a different spot, so that's 8. That's for all. Yes, we're gonna have to do a transfer in for that money. You think about 50,000?
I think it's probably gonna be more than that.
Okay, but whatever it is, I think we should put that into capital outlay also, because we're gonna get that money back when we get the grant.
Yes,
It's
yes,
gonna
and it will
transfer
go back into
so
the
that should be
general
a
fund.
wash.
Yes.
Yes. All right, so what I have right now is the changes that we talked about. Again, I try to put that down so y'all can follow that from what we had before. We have talked about a few different changes, but I didn't have that information, so I didn't have it on this form. But we're gonna have to do that transfer, which will be a wash when we get the money. The Fund 91, part-time, but then adding the IT person, that will be for the general fund. And I'm probably budget at about 75 after we say what the salary is and all the expenses and all that stuff. Okay. Hopefully we'll have a little more information next week. We may have some changes and additions next week.
Do we have a rough estimate about what that building's gonna cost when we build it?
At one time, we had estimated, you remember what we estimated, 250. But
What did square foot change to?
I have to go get that. Well, you have the packet, don't you, Clyde? That shows the square footage? Did you pick up the packet?
I had one somewhere.
Would you go get a packet?
I'll get it.
Thank you.
We started out small, I think.
Well, by the time he added a little bit
Yeah.
here
dispatch again, if we got 923,000 here, we're talking about that was for 8. A while ago, we was talking about 3 more to make it 11. We figured it in. Well, we said 370,000, which would be 66,363. So if you add that to it, then that puts our dispatch budget up. Just putting those other 3 people in there, 1,122,000.
Last year, our budget in that line, I'm looking at about $587,000.
Well, I'm just saying, if we were looking at percentages, then what, we just told T 146,000, but that was based off of 730,000. So when we add 3 more dispatchers to what we got in this budget, that's 1.1.
We were talking about just making them pay a portion of the salaries and us seeing the rest of it. Well, now we have utilities on.
Well, but there,
We're
the
just gonna pay it
utilities and
back.
stuff is very little, very little.
Right? Well, it's not pretty big. We figured this is 8. We're gonna turn it back.
Well, if this is at 8 and it's about 5, then if we're doing it at 8, and if you subtract that 414 from that 9, that would be 5. And if we're doing 8 at 5, then we do 4 more, would be about half of that, which should be about the 750. Well, I'll look at that.
And you're taking, so the other expense, the 414, is coming out?
Yes,
Come off the 923.
it comes off of that because we'll move that up once we combine, and then we move that up for the salaries. But we're leaving that down there because right now we're only budgeting my part. So.
Okay.
Well, they just,
I know.
it's shocking there for a minute.
Yeah, that, but we didn't want to put those dispatchers on there because we wouldn't want to be filled with other dispatchers that didn't have to add on. Anyway, sorry. Do you have that? It should show on that. Okay, come back with it. Do what? Can you come back with it again? Okay.
And that's how we go.
It's been advertised. Get people to pick them up. I'll pass it down there, see if you can read it. I can't
Yeah,
read
Amy's got better eyes. Just tell you something. Damn.
What you got over there? It should be just something.
You can't read that.
See that?
Who drew that drawing? Alpha Tech?
60 foot, 11 inches long, ain't it?
You see that?
When it was 60, it looked like it is.
Or 61.
I think it says 24. That's not, and that's not counting the porch. Not counting the porch.
60,
Oh, actually,
60,
Right.
24.
1,500 square foot.
1,600, okay. 100 square foot, that's
So the
the,
question is what's it cost to build it?
yes, there you are.
You didn't build a building nowadays. What's good on it? Probably not pushing $200 a square foot.
320. Well, we had budgeted 300. So, at the time,
Yeah. We've been talking about this a long time.
just well, might need it up though.
What we got budgeted?
300.
It cost $320.
Well, but we have porch too, so that's not heated and cooled. So maybe it won't be quite that much per foot. All right. We will
So
come
we
back
want to
in.
pencil down with these other things that we talked about, and didn't finish talking about, but we want to add another 20,000 on that. For the building.
Well, since we have a porch, I think it's also like $200 a square foot, some of it's not heated and cooled.
Well,
I just think 200, 300 would be.
200 may not build it. I mean,
We can take some out of contingency if we need. Or if you want it to be 320, I'll put 20 more.
No, I was just looking, I was just trying to figure for these other things, like I said, we never finished talking about, but we're gonna do the application from surplus.
Yes, yes.
And then we said we were going to, so what was earmarked for that was going to be used for,
The application, once, having a travel.
was IT position coming out of that 175, that we kind of freed up.
It'll come out of just general, because that's gonna be an every year thing. So I think that will go, we'll take that out of what we budgeted for that, CAD thing.
Okay.
Yeah,
Because cash gonna come from more. Right.
possibly, yeah. Probably like to work on it a little more. Not to squeeze it around. So we'll have a new and improved version next time. Next Wednesday. See how we can work these funds out a little bit.
can I see that big package?
You can have it.
It's not very acceptable for somebody.
I have one sheet that's pulled out that we're gonna have to put back in its right spot, because the rest of it is correct, I believe. And then I'll figure out where it goes in a minute. That's all for today, and we will update this, and, you think we need to have another meeting before next Wednesday?
What's the deadline?
Or we can just,
When
we're
do we
gonna
have to?
adopt it next Wednesday.
We have to.
we thought we might have another meeting, what you think? We plan down there.
Whatever y'all say. We can surely do that.
We haven't got a calculator figured out yet.
Well, it's just transferring a few things around, which is, but we surely can. What do you want?
If we're gonna do it, I'll give you the best day.
And the room for the court on Monday night, so we know we're good.
Ma'am?
I said I couldn't remember if we had court on Monday or not, but we don't have court on Monday. So that'll be great, 9 o'clock. We have a motion to adjourn.
Just a reminder that open enrollment is next week after Commissioners Court, so I'm just reminding y'all.
Well, we can't have it this week.
No, I'm just letting y'all know after next Wednesday starts our open enrollment after, as soon as Commissioners Court's open.
That'd be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, correct?
Yes, that's correct.
What time do they start?
I think we put on there, like, 10:30, I thought we put, but
That'll
it's
be-
contingent
that'll
to
be
y'all.
fine.
I mean, if y'all don't get done, they know they'll just have to wait until you get done.
Oh, that should be plenty of time if we're here at 9.
Oh, we can go next door.
Yeah, we can. We'll start here at 9 on Monday. Okay.
At court that morning.
Anything else?
Next door.
Sarah Warren, DPS trooper, used to work for Freestone County. She passed away at the young age of 51. She did a lot of good stuff here in Freestone County before transferring to Navarro. They're having her memorial today at 2 o'clock. I'll be attending that. But I just thought I should say something as far as her and her service and protection of our citizens when she was here.
We enjoyed her. We sure did. Aside from doing this on.
Yeah.
New seatbelt, Sarah.
She was sick up, so.
Yes, she was.
That
Yes.
form ticket on that seatbelt money
Yes, she
Got me
would.
one day.
Yes.
Revenue in.
ended up being good free.
Yeah. All right, do we have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion.
Do we have a second?
Bill in
All in
2000,
favor? Aye. We're adjourned.
Bill in 2000.